few weeks back, I released part 1 of this surprising coaster stat series where I talked about various roller coaster statistics that are different from what you might think that they would be based on perceptions, and that became one of my best performing videos ever. The support is crazy and I cannot thank you guys enough. So a lot of you have been asking me to follow that up with a part 2, so here I am with that. But this time, it will not be about height and length statistics. This time we will be going over some speed and G-force stats, so let's get into the video. We are going to start off with G-force stats, and the first one is ANACONDA at Gold Reef City, touted as one of the most intense coasters in the world, but it actually only hits 3.5 Gs according to RCDB. And oh yeah, all these stats you can check for yourself on the roller coaster database, the true most magical place on earth. Apollo's Chariot, Busch Gardens Williamsburg, 4.1 Gs. Hypercoasters, especially B&M hypercoasters like this, always seem to be known for having some great negative Gs, but they're a bit lacking in positive Gs, but I guess that isn't always necessarily the case. We have another case of that, but this time with an aero hyper, Desperado at Buffalo Bills, 4 Gs. Yeah, looking at the POV, this thing does look to have both some sneaky positive and negative Gs that tend to go untalked about, maybe because this ride is located in the middle of nowhere, Nevada. Dragon Flyer, Dollywood, 4 Gs. Honestly, I think that this would be more fitting in the thrill category in RCDB rather than family. There's some pretty decent elements, also not related to the forces, but I did not know until the making of this video that this is actually a clone of another Vekoma family suspended coaster at Energylandia, and there's actually 7 of this layout around the world with 3 more under construction. Flying Aces, Ferrari World, 5 Gs. Again, a case where it's an airtime based hyper, so you might not expect it, but I guess it does make sense when you think about how it's a sister coaster to Skyrush, a ride many people call one of the most intense coasters on the planet. Halfpipe, Ilitch Gardens, 4.5 Gs. I, in particular, find this astonishing because this model is very similar to that of Avatar Airbender at Nickelodeon Universe, a coaster that I have ridden, and to be honest, I really didn't feel any forces at all on Avatar. Kurnu Linen Maki, 2.5 Gs. This is a Zack spin just like Green Lantern First Flight, a ride that many people say was just too uncomfortably intense. Granted, Kurnu is a shorter layout, but it's still surprising that's only 2.6 Gs. KUMBA and MONTU at Busch Gardens Tampa, they both hit 3.8 Gs. Two rides that are seen as classic examples of old school B&M, they actually don't even reach 4 Gs, but I guess that they probably feel much more intense than their stats reveal. Lightning Racer, people often complain about it being a bit of a snooze fest with hardly any forces of any kind, but somehow statistically only 0.2 Gs off of KUMBA and MONTU at 3.6. Oblivion Alton Towers, 4.5 Gs. Yeah, if you didn't know, dive coasters hit surprisingly high amounts of G-force. The reason I pick Oblivion is because a lot of people think of it as the worst dive coaster and the outcast dive, but it actually hits the most Gs on a dive. I still think it's the worst dive, but it's not a bad ride by any stretch of the imagination. RITA, another Alton Towers coaster, but this one's 4.7 Gs. A lot of people complain about how RITA's rough and doesn't really do anything, but I will say that some of those turns look pretty forceful, and overall it seems to be an overhated ride. Sky Dragster at Skyline Park in Germany. Alright, now this one is just so ridiculous that I just had to make a post about it on Instagram when I was researching this. This is a Mars spike coaster, if you didn't know, like the rides that are supposed to pop up on Carnival cruises soon. On RCDB, it's listed as an extreme coaster. You know how many Gs it hits? 1.2. I mean, I probably hit more than 1.2 Gs standing in my kitchen boiling a pot of water. 1.2. Extreme coaster. It's the same with Desmo Race at Mirablandia also. Tennessee Tornado, 3.7 Gs. Yeah, 3.7 is a decent number, but I feel like a lot of people describe it as more intense than that. Typhoon at Babylon Land, 5 Gs. The second ever Gerstlauer Eurofighter is still one of the statistically most intense coasters in the world. That's actually pretty cool. And the last G-force statistic, VOLARE at WIENER PRATER, 4 Gs. I find this interesting because this is the only custom VOLARE model and it's actually 0.7 Gs more intense than the standard model. I wonder how much different the ride experience is. Let me know in the comments if you've been on this one because I'd be interested to know. I'm sure Canopy Coaster has been on it. So with that, we are halfway through the video, and do you guys know what time it is? I know what time it is. Halftime trivia with the Coaster Roaster. And if you don't know how this works, I will ask a question. The first 3 people to correctly answer it in the comments will get a shout out in my next video. Today's question corresponds with the VOLARE model that we were just talking about, and the question is, how many operating Zamperla VOLAREs are there in the world? And that does not include any listed as under construction or standing when not operating. Again, just answer in the comments and good luck. Let's get back to the video where we will be moving on to speed stats. To start off, we actually have a launch speed, and that is Bluefire Mega Coaster's launch, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. You know, I've never once heard someone praise a launch on Bluefire. I've actually mostly heard people trash it, But I have heard some people say how they love Joker's Jinx's launch. That's 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Similar speed, actually Blue Fire's faster, but I never hear anything good about Blue Fire's. Coney Island Cyclone, 60 miles an hour. Hits that speed, he is 93 years old, still giving great airtime and laterals. No wonder it's one of the most iconic coasters in the world. Gemini, Cedar Point, also 60 miles an hour. I guess that this one is explainable because it feels slower than it is with those wide turnarounds, but when it's going, it is definitely going. Halsberghoff, 49.7 miles an hour. Now I don't have this on here because the speed is higher or lower than I would think, but actually because, believe it or not, it's the same exact speed as the standard SLC model, down to the decimal. There could be a reason for this, but I think it's probably just a coincidence. Hyperion, Energylandia, 88 miles per hour. Geez, I knew this thing was big, like I knew it was a hyper and all, but just wow, only 2 miles an hour off of I-35. Also, this is random, but I feel like the Wallaby Belgian Mega opening next year is just Hyperion on steroids. Kanonen, formerly at Liseberg and soon at Lost Island Theme Park in Iowa, 46 miles per hour. I don't know why, but just saying the sentence, Iowa is getting an intimate accelerator, sounds weird to me. Probably just me though. Railblazer, Stunt Pilot, and Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster, 52 miles an hour. I guess it just looks a lot faster on camera than it is because of its out of this world pacing. I specifically remember the first time I looked at a POV of Railblazer, I had to check 3 times to make sure the video wasn't on 2 times speed because I was just so confused. Screaming Eagle, Six Flags St. Louis, 62 miles an hour. Man, I gotta get to Six Flags St. Louis to ride this thing. It was closed when I was there, and wow, it just looks like the embodiment of what a classic Woody should be. Stormrunner, 75 miles per hour. That's not the surprising part though. What is that the speed is actually not hit on that launch, which is the 3rd fastest accelerating launch in America. It's actually hit after the top hat. And finally, we have the last coaster of the video, Yankee Cannonball at Canby Lake Park, 35 miles per hour. Yep, this is the perfect place to end. Yankee Cannonball shows us that you don't need great stats to be a great ride. So that's about gonna wrap this video up. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, leave your suggestions, thoughts, and video ideas in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.